Let me tell you about the night I died. On stage, in front of 75 people and a very disappointed bar manager named Sheila. It wasn't a murder, darling. It was a choice. A choice of heels that were 2 inches too tall, a lip sync I only half knew, and a wig that had ambitions of its own. It was my debut, the night I was supposed to transform from Kevin, the boy who sewed in his bedroom, into Krystal Vortex, the superstar. Spoiler alert, the Vortex sucked, and it was mostly me. You have to understand the vision, the sheer scale of the delusion. For months, my tiny apartment wasn't an apartment, it was a workshop for a dream. The look was conceptual. I was a galaxy queen, a bedazzled nebula born from a supernova of ambition and a concerning amount of craft glue. I'd spent 3 months and my entire grocery budget for the foreseeable future on Swarovski crystals. I'd glued them to everything. My face, my corset, my shoes. I'm pretty sure my cat, Miss Fluffy, sparkled for a week just from being in the same apartment. The gown was a masterpiece of 7 different shades of blue tulle, painstakingly layered to look like the swirling cosmos. And the wig, it was a towering architectural marvel of synthetic hair and hope, sprayed a cosmic silver and dotted with tiny twinkling LED stars that I had wired myself, burning my fingers more times than I care to admit. I was a walking, talking, praying for no rain constellation. I wasn't just entering a drag show, I was making a celestial announcement. The song was a power ballad, the kind that requires emotion, nuance, a single tear rolling down a perfectly contoured cheek. I had the first 10 seconds down perfect. I'd practiced in the mirror for weeks. The opening breath, the slow turn to the audience, the hand placed delicately over the heart. I was serving face, I was serving feeling, I was serving a complete and utter lack of spatial awareness. Backstage, I could hear the muffled sounds of the queen before me finishing her number to respectable applause. My heart wasn't beating. It was hammering against my ribs like it wanted to escape and get a better seat. This was it. The moment the sequins hit the stage. The lights went down. I took my mark in the darkness. A single piercing spotlight hit me. I was blinded. I was breathtaking. I was terrified. The first synth notes of the ballad washed over the room. I executed the first move perfectly. The slow, anguished look to the heavens. Yes. I took that first dramatic, universe-shattering step forward, and that's when my galactic stiletto met its mortal enemy, a rogue, lonely sequin from the queen before me. It was a tiny, glittering betrayer. My ankle, which had never been asked to do this much while supporting 6 inches of heel and 30 pounds of ambition, simply gave up. It surrendered. The world became a dizzying blur of hot pink lights and the sour smell of spilled well drinks. The wig, that magnificent beast, sensed its moment of freedom. It launched itself from my scalp like a rocket leaving a doomed planet, sailing through the air in a graceful silver arc, its little LED stars blinking mockingly as it flew, before landing directly in the lap of a man who was just trying to enjoy his vodka soda in peace. He looked down at it as if it were a strange, sparkly animal that had fallen from the ventilation system. And I fell. Honey, I didn't just fall. I collapsed. A bejeweled supernova crashing back to Earth. It was less of a fall and more of a full system shutdown. The music kept going, of course. The singer was belting her heart out about eternal, tragic love, and there I was, on all fours on a sticky stage floor, scrambling for a wig that was now being used as a conversation starter. The silence from the audience was louder than the music. It was a wall of pure, uncut pity. I could see my own reflection in the disco ball, a pathetic, glittery heap. This was it. the end of a career that lasted precisely 7 seconds. I could see Sheila's glare from the back bar boring into my soul, probably calculating the cost of the crystals I was scraping off the floor. I wanted to dissolve into the floorboards and become one with the spilled gin. But then I heard it. A single, slow, deliberate clap from the very back of the room. Clap. It was dry, sarcastic, almost challenging. Then another, from a different corner. Clap. It was an older queen, her arms crossed, a smirk on her face. And then, laughter. But not the mean kind. It wasn't the sharp, cruel laughter of ridicule. It was the warm, rumbling, generous laughter of recognition. The laughter of 100 people who had all, in one way or another, been there. It was the sound of a community seeing itself reflected in my disaster. It was the sound of 100 failed reveals, split wigs, and broken heels. It was the sound of them saying, "Oh, honey, we've all been there. Welcome to the club." And something in me broke. But it wasn't my spirit. It was the dam holding back all my fear, all my need to be perfect. The desire to be Krystal Vortex, the flawless star, evaporated. All that was left was Kevin, covered in glue and shame, and a choice. I could run or I could rise. But not the kind of rise where you get back up, a different kind. I stopped scrambling. I stopped trying to salvage the performance I had planned. I looked up from the floor, my eyelash dangling precariously, my galaxy smudged with something I hoped was just sweat. I took a deep, shaky breath that echoed into the microphone, and I made my choice. I sat right there on that sticky stage floor. I looked at the man with my wig, who was now holding it like a startled, sparkly poodle. I pointed a glittery, trembling finger right at him, and with every ounce of shattered drama I had left, I lip-synced the next line directly to his soul. You give love a bad name. The crowd didn't just erupt, they detonated. They howled, they cheered, they were mine. I didn't get up, I performed the entire rest of the 3-minute power ballad from the floor. I gave face, I gave emotion, I gave desperation. I crawled through the heartbreak of the song. I used the fallen wig as a prop, cradling it like a lost lover during the bridge. I dragged myself through the key change. I gave them a story. I gave them the truth. It was messy, it was flawed, it was unchoreographed, and it was the most real, electrifying thing I had ever done. I wasn't performing a song anymore. I was performing my own resurrection. When the final crashing note hit, I was slumped over, spent, my chest heaving, my makeup a tragic watercolor of glitter and tears. The applause was thunderous. It wasn't polite applause, it was earned applause. It was the sound of respect. Sheila was actually smiling, shaking her head while she rang the tip bell again and again. And the man with the wig? He walked right up to the stage, handed it back to me with a deep, dramatic bow, like returning a crown to its rightful queen, and stuffed a 20 into my sweaty, sparkly hand. I learned something on that dirty floor that I could never have learned on a perfect stage. Perfection is a boring illusion. Flawless is forgettable. Drag isn't about the illusion of flawlessness. It's about the glorious, messy, resilient heart that beats underneath all the glitter and glue. It's about looking failure right in its stupid, ugly face and giving it a perfect smoky eye. It's about community. It's about finding your light even when you're lying flat on your back in the dark. It's about the choice to turn a flop into a floor show. So go out there. Be magnificent. Be a mess. Be unforgettable. But most importantly, be so true that even when you fall with style. Now get out there and make them remember your name.